if you didn't have access to a television and you're following on social media and you see Tennessee's basketball fans are ready to fire Rick Barnes, burn down the Thompson Bowling / Food City Center just for the fun of it, get mattresses, throw them out on Lake Loudon Boulevard. That was all apparently going to happen. And then what happened, Caleb?
And then Tennessee rebounded in the second half and overcame a crazy weird deficit in the second half at 1.2. Go beat Georgia on the road, finishing with a 85-79 victory, thanks to a solid 36 points by the creamsicle Mamba himself, Dalton Knecht.
I'm going to tell you why I think this team's different. I think he's the best pure scorer that Tennessee has had, and I don't know when. Perhaps you would like to fill that out. Now, Chris Lofton was a great scorer, but he had to take difficult shots, and he made them. And he's not the tallest guy in the world, so he didn't get clean looks a lot. A lot of his shots were spot-up shots. Dalton Knecht, you can play him man up. You can get right in his face. You can play him off, and he can beat you. Now, I don't know the last time Tennessee has had that hey, this Rick Barnes offense is sputtering, which it tends to do. Let's give it to that guy and let him dig us out of a hole. Get us 6-8 points in this stretch here, and it could change the whole facade of the game. I think that's what you have with Dalton Knecht. It's brought to you by our friend Don Self, State Farm agent Don Self and his team take customer service seriously. Over 40 years, business reputation built on taking care of their customers. Everybody wants to save money, but do this. Know that when that claim is made, you want it to be taken care of. Right below donself.net, donself.net, 423-396-2126, 423-396-2126. The last time Tennessee's had a player they could just toss the ball out there and ISO and have a better than 50% chance of getting a bucket is when?
Scotty Hobson was probably the closest. But he's not as good as Knecht. And he didn't have the heart that Knecht has. Scotty Hobson was I think a level of an underachiever similar. You know who would be a good Vincent Yarbrough? Vincent Yarbrough could score anywhere on the court.
Okay, well,
but he was a little soft.
He was a lot soft. So that was the one I was going to go to because I think they have a similar skill set, actually. Vincent Yarbrough, I believe firmly could have been an NBA All-Pro. That is the closest one I was going to come to, but I just feel Knecht has more grit and more desire in clutch time. I thought there were times that Vincent Yarbrough didn't want the ball in clutch time.
Yeah, that was an issue for a few Tennessee teams back during that time. Scooter McFadden had that same issue when he became Tennessee's leading scorer for a minute. He always got a little nervous in clutch time. What stood out about this game, and guys, Dave, back me. Have I not been Tennessee basketball's toughest critic and Rick Barnes' toughest critic for 2 years running now?
You have, by the way. DeMarcus says Jordan McRae, pure scorer. I don't think he's at that level.
McRae never had to be at that level as much because Jarnell Stokes was so aggressive inside.
Okay.
And so I would give, and Jerron Mayman too, but McRae is a good one. I do think McRae is a good one. Dalton is better. Now here's where I'm getting at. Yes, Dalton was elite because Tennessee had no offense going Saturday, and they're down 75-64 with 6 minutes to go. But Dalton's their best player, but Jonas Aidoo is their most important player. And what happened with 6 minutes to go? Jonas Aidoo finally turned it on. He finally got aggressive. He hits a jumper to make it 75-66, and then he actually makes the dunk that cuts it to 2, and Zakai Zeigler also is going to be as aggressive as he can. Aidoo had 10 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 blocks. This, Dalton Knecht, I said this last week because there was a game where Dalton Knecht had like 8 points and Tennessee won. And I said, don't worry about that game because Dalton Knecht, the whole reason you have Dalton Knecht is when your offense isn't clicking, you give it to Dalton Knecht and clear the way. That only works though if Aidoo commands the respect that he needs to command as a big man under the basket. And he was commanding that respect, so Knecht was able to go off the way Knecht went off because the rest of the offense just wasn't hitting. Zakai, Josiah-Jordan James was off. And so I think that's what made the big difference in this game. Look, guys, it was an 85-79 win, but it was at Georgia. Georgia's coached by Mike White. Georgia was red hot shooting from three. They went 42%. This game that you watched on Saturday is the first time Tennessee proved that they can withstand anything thrown at them in March. They're capable of doing that now. And it's the first time I've ever said they're capable of doing that in the past.
Interesting. Caleb has been very critical, and now it seems like he's coming around a little bit. I'm intrigued there. So we shall see. I think he's the type of player that is exactly to a T what Rick Barnes needs, because I don't think Rick Barnes is a great offensive coach. And I think that when you need those 2 to 4 points in clutch time, Dalton Knecht is a guy you can kick it to, ISO him, and he's going to stand a 50-50 shot of getting you a couple points. And if it doesn't work out that time, give it to him again.
I agree. Do you think people were a little aggressive comparing him, including Rick Barnes, comparing him to Kevin Durant, though, over the weekend?
Yes. On the top 5 players of all time. And he doesn't play
I will say this.
Durant can either.
I will say this. I want to give you a real hot take. Y'all ready for this? Everybody sit down. Everybody sit down.
Scared of your hot takes.
Dalton Knecht is mentally tougher than Kevin Durant. I think Kevin Durant is one of the mentally weakest players to ever grace an NBA court. Okay. And I think what you said about Vincent Yarbrough, that is Kevin Durant. He just has a lot more length. And that's the only reason that it didn't face him as much. But Kevin Durant and Steph Curry are the two mentally weakest players to ever step foot on the court. That's why whenever things get tight, they get scared. Dalton Knecht embraces the pressure when it's happening. And by the way, again, the reason I say what I said, what did I say to you, Dave? I said that defense doesn't win championships because when a team is shooting red hot from three, there's no way you can defend it. Doesn't matter how good your defense is. You can't stop it. That's what Georgia was doing on Saturday. That's why they scored 79 points. And Tennessee said, okay, you guys scored 79 points because you're red hot shooting. We're not shooting as well as we need to. We'll find a way to get 85 points. And we get 85 points. They get 85 points because of Dalton Knecht doing what you said he does. And Jonas Aidoo creating space for Dalton Knecht at the same time.
I'm not going to overreact off one game in mid-January, but because I thought this would connect the whole time. But I think this potentially turns them into a competitor for the Sweet 16, which they should be. I think he's the type of guy who can carry them to the Final Four because they're going to need that. If he's not on that team, my prediction right now would be Tennessee flames out in the Sweet 16 again.
He's the type of guy that
best,
you're right. You're right. And if Tennessee goes to the Final Four, is Dalton Knecht the type of guy that, like, you know, you have those tournament breakout players, which Steph Curry was, by the way, years ago at Davidson. But is Dalton Knecht the type of guy that, like, all of a sudden ESPN is talking about saying, we didn't see this guy. Let's look at him for the NBA draft.
I mean, to me, he's an NBA player for sure.
Right, but he's not generating this type of pub right now that he should. I'm saying if Tennessee goes to the Final Four, it will be because Dalton Knecht became a breakout NCAA tournament star, one of those type, like the Steph Curry type in 2007 or 2008, right? No,
good point. I got no argument with that. I think he's going to end up being a fan favorite too, and I think that, I think Tennessee's very lucky to have him. Changes my view of them absolutely and entirely. So,
and what does it say about his?
Go ahead.
Sorry, just want to say, what does it say about his character and his toughness too? That he committed to Rick Barnes because he knew his offensive game was great and he wanted to get tougher on defense. That's why he committed to Rick Barnes. He actually wanted to get tougher, and he embraced it. That says a lot about Dalton Knecht as a player.